Hello, everyone. I am David Canny, Mr. aka Mr. Awesome X300. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the western part of Lirunia, aka Lirunia West. That's what I like to call it. Now, I just like to let you know that there is a Lirunia East, which we talked about. That's part land. This is also part land. You see, I like to consider Lirunia four different parts. Lirunia East, the lake, West, and what we're going to be talking about next week, the Moonlight Altar. Anyway, we're going to start northwest, aka right outside Caria Manor, where the King's Realm ruins are. So, Ronnie's blacksmith Ish is also near these ruins. Just so you know, he's a troll, and he is a blacksmith. A troll smith, if you will. Anyway, these ruins have glintstone traps, where if you step on them, they glow, and then they shoot up into the sky. There are also noble sorcerers there that turn invisible until they start casting their glintstone pebbles. Yeah, it's kind of tricky to dodge that. Anyway, wolves are also present, but they're just the easy part. But to say nothing of what's in the underground section. Yeah, the Royal Revenant is here. His attacks include teleporting and then puking at you, which by the way can spew poison, give you the poison attribute, and can slap you, including a 5-slap combo that might one-shot you. That's right, a one-shot slap flurry. He can also teleport, and he's also very fast and shrieks a lot. But the best way to, stand a chance against him is to use slash and strike attacks. And once you beat him, you get the Frozen Needle, a weapon made entirely of ice. And just like the aforementioned Ice Ryan Hatchet, it can produce frost damage. Just so you know, I believe that means you take more damage from other elemental damage attributes. Anyway, continuing further south, we come across the four belfries. They teleport you to spots you can't normally go to. One will take you to Necron, the Eternal City. The modded necklace, which I will talk about when we deal with its +1 variant over there, when we actually talk about the real city. And there's also a Crucible Knight there. And as you can tell, Crucible Knights are hard. Anyway, another will take you to crumbling Fair Missoula, which is one of the 6 main legacy dungeons. And aside from Leyendell, the only one that's required for the main game. Anyway, this will take you to a little section above these ruins. The ruins of Fair Missoula, that is. Now, 2 beastmen await your arrival. And once you beat them, or just run from them, you get the Pearl Drake Talisman, which protects you from other elemental-based attacks. Oh, and one more thing. The third one takes you to the Chapel of Anticipation, where you started this tarnished journey to become the Elden Lord. While there, you can finish the job at the Grafted Scion if you died there. You can also get Stormhawk Dina, like I mentioned, that Stormhawk that has less health than the other renowned Spirit Ashes. Now then, but there is one little problem. These are 4 belfries, and I only mentioned 3. The question you might have right now is this: where's is the 4th belfry? That is in the DLC. And just like these 3, it'll take you to a spot you normally can't go to. I'll talk more about it when we get there, but I will now tell you the name of the place. The Ancient Ruins of Ra, which, by the way, is more on the End King DLC side of things. Anyway, Bowls the Carrion Knight. In the middle of Lirunia West, we come across the Cuckoo's Evergaol. In it is a troll knight. He is immune to magic, and he could also, and like a regular troll knight, he can summon huge swords that'll rain over him, and then home in on you. And spoiler alert, that's what you get when you beat him. Just so you know, please do only open space bosses, only field bosses, no cave bosses, and no, and some of the main ones too. Oh, and about bowls, they can be poisoned as well. Just spew poison out of him, he'll be soon gone, done for. Just to let you know. Anyway, east, west, south, and more, continuing further south, we come across the Revenger's shack. Edgar the Revenger is there. Now, a little bit of spoilers for Castle Morn. Now, at the beginning of Weeping Peninsula, right after the Bridge of Sacrifice, his daughter Irina wants you to deliver a letter for him. He is at Castle Morn, at a separate section, a separate part of the castle. Once you find him, he'll just tell you the letter and then tell him that he's going to leave the castle. But I don't know if this is true, but after she's killed, that is true, she does get mutilated. He becomes mad, and by mad, I mean he succumbed to the frenzied flame. But then he attacks you at the Revenger Shack. Once he gets his justice taken care of, you can get his Banished Knight's Halberd +8 when you defeat him. The +8, by the way, is saying something. These weapons can be upgraded to +25, regular weapons. And these are be done by use of these things called smithing stones. And to get to the max, you have to get ancient dragon smithing stones. And for special weapons, there are somber smithing stones. Same rules apply. Anyway, now we get to the village of the Alberniacs, under the moonlight altar. The old and the helpless Alberniacs roam here. They are massacred by an almond killer who, by the way, you can beat. Before we get to him, though, one of these Alberniacs goes by the name of Albus. Gives you one half a medallion, aka the Haligtree medallion. It allows you access to an optional endgame location, but that's just one half. There's another half, and unfortunately it's in an endgame location guarded by a kinda hard boss. Anyway, now why you ask, are these Alberniacs different than the ones you saw at the lake? Well, these old ones are the first generation. Those frogs that you saw are the second generation. But these are just the male species. When we get to the consecrated snowfield, I'll talk about the girls. Anyway, in this village there are a couple collectibles, starting with this ivory sickle. The old Alberniacs wield these, and yes, they do attack you. Some even have staves, and they're even sorcerers. These wield these because of their dedication to the Haligtree, which is that optional endgame area I was talking about. It can't be blocked by charged and heavy attacks as well, unlike most other weapons. Another is the crystal sword, made of pure crystal. Now, these are crystallized by highly intelligent beings known as the Crystallians. And because they are separate bosses, I'll be talking about them when we talk about these mini dungeons. But I will tell you this. There are 3 types that Crystallians wield 3 weapons. Ring blades, spears, and staffs. The former of which you cannot obtain. Anyway, on to the almond killer. These were former perfumers. Perfumers, by the way, love to spew concoctions and burning concoctions as well. There are also depraved perfumers as well. Same thing, but stronger. In fact, there's one at the village before you meet the Almond Killer, actually. Just so you know, these perfumers were turned emotionless by imbuing a physic to rid themselves of it. Now, they hunted then the scorned almond. They were scorned because of their horns. So that's why most of the horned ones are in the subterranean shunning grounds beneath Leyendell, the sewers of Leyendell. Anyway, back to the Almond Killer. This one in particular has some canine support with him. Now, you see those massive cleavers, right? He can, smash them 3 times in a row. Oh, and he can also breathe fire. That's right. Those masks are flamethrowers. Physical attacks, slash, strike, and also pierce damage work best against these guy. Once you beat him and his, pets, you get the Crucible Knot Talisman. It reduces damage from headshots. And just so you know, that's mainly useful in Cypher River, where there are archer ancestral followers all across the woods there. And they like to snipe you from certain places where you can't expect it. Fortunately, when we get there, I'll tell you about a little strategy I invented. Now, we might, just so you know, that is the end of Lirunia West, but there is one more part before we get to the Moonlight Altar that I would like to tell you about. And it deals with this thing known as the Giant's Flame. Now, also, in a separate part of Western Lirunia, you come across a Giant's Flame camp filled with thorn sorcerers and fire monks. Fire monks produce and cast incantations from the Giant's Flame. Anyway, at that camp, you come across this incantation called Flame Cleanse Me. It allows you to be rid of any illness or ailment. And by any, I meant rot and poison. And maybe even frost. Perfect for poisonous swamps. And that'll be very useful when we deal with Kaliad in a couple of weeks. And also a certain underground mini-dungeon that's filled with rot. That's what I use, and that's what I'm gonna use. Anyway, after you deal with the camp, you go west-eastward, and then you come across the Malefactor's Evergall, where Adon, the Thief of Fire, is there. Why is he known as the Thief of Fire? Because he dressed up as a fire prelate, aka basically the commanders of the flame. He disguised himself as a prelate to steal a legendary incantation, and then he fled to southwestern Lirunia. Anyway, this traitor will work best against thunder. That's what does him in best. Now, when you defeat him, he'll give you the incantation, the Flame of the Fell God. That's what he stole from the Guardian's garrison. And I'll get to that when we deal with the mountaintops of the Giants itself. Anyway, this allows you to cast a big ball of fire that after a couple seconds of tracking enemies, it explodes. But it is slow, though. It's best work on non-mobile foes, along with the slow Erdtree avatars. Anyway, the 3 parts are done, but there is one left to go. One area still I want to talk about. The Moonlight Altar. I will be talking about that next week, and it involves completing a certain NPC quest. Until then, please like and subscribe, and click the notification bell as to when I'll be posting. Until then, bye!